Week number 5, the NFL season. Of course, we're doing one of these prediction videos every single week, and here is the 5th installment of our predictions videos here with the NFL. And before we get into the video, folks, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for weekly NFL picks here on the channel, along with all sorts of predictions here on the channel. We did our college football predictions on the channel yesterday, so go check that video out. Link is in the description down below. We had our UFC 307 Pereira versus Roundtree predictions. Link is in the description as well, along with our MLB wildcard predictions as well. We'll be out with the NLDS and the ALDS predictions whenever the wildcard concludes, which is on Thursday. So make sure to check the channel out for that. Of course, predictions coming at you all the time here on the channel. If you want to see NBA coming up too, I can do it. I do watch the NBA as well. NHL, I probably can't give you a great assessment of games. Anyways, we'll get to that when we get there. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more predictions here on the channel. It really helps out the channel if you do hit that subscribe button down below and you leave a like. So if you want to see more, make sure to go do that. Let's get in to, I believe we have 14 games this week with 4 games on bye, or 4 teams on bye. And here we go. We start things off with Thursday Night Football. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Guys, this is one of my better plays of the week, I think. Bucks money line. They are not losing to the Falcons. I don't give a damn. The Falcons had a close game with the Saints last week. Sure, they looked all right that game. Of course, Younghoe Koo hit his career-long field goal to win the game for Atlanta. That's great and all, but Tampa Bay is the better football team. Baker Mayfield, with the exception of one bad week that he had against the Denver Broncos, and hell, that doesn't look that bad anymore considering what the Broncos did last week against the New York Jets. Now, again, we're going to talk about the Broncos. We will talk. The Jets are actually the next game as well. We will talk about them. But again, with the exception of that one bad game Baker Mayfield had against Denver, they come back, the Bucks, they beat up on the Philadelphia Eagles, which is not a bad football team at all. I understand, again, the Eagles were without their top 2 receivers, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, but still the way Tampa was able to win that one is impressive. They now go on the road to take on the Atlanta Falcons, and I think they beat down Atlanta. I don't think the Falcons offense is able to keep up with what the Buccaneers are able to do. And again, Tampa, this is their second road game of the season. Well, their first road game, they went on the road and beat the Detroit Lions, who I think is the best team in football right now, but you can definitely make the case Tampa Bay is deserving of that best team title, and I think they go into Atlanta on Thursday Night Football and win. Again, Kirk Cousins hasn't been playing bad, but I just like what Tampa Bay has got more. Again, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin is the best receiving duo in the NFL. They're going with both Bucky Irving and Rachaad White at running back, and Baker Mayfield is in the top 5 right now, I think, in the MVP race. So give me the Buccaneers to win. They'll cover the 1.5, but just take them to win the football game. I think, again, actually, we did cover last week with the Saints plus 1.5, or plus 2.5. In Atlanta, normally I just tend to go money line in those picks, but technically if you did take the Saints spread last week against the Falcons, like we said, they did win, or they did cover. We're taking the Bucks, though, to outright win this game, and we're taking them to cover the 1.5 as well. Let's go on to the London game. The Jets and the Vikings, a really good game for London. Again, 9:30 on the East Coast, 6:30 on the West Coast, of course, in the morning, and we're siding with the Minnesota Vikings to win the football game. Okay, I said the Detroit Lions might be the best team in football. That should probably go to the Minnesota Vikings. And I get it. Oh, the Kansas City Chiefs. No, the Chiefs are not the best team in football right now. It's either the Vikings, Bucks, or Lions. The Chiefs are top 5, but they haven't blown anybody away so far this season. That's all I'm saying. The Vikings are good. They are really good. Again, we talked about Baker Mayfield being, again, a top 5 candidate in the MVP race. No, well, Sam Darnold's in like the top 2 right now. Maybe he's number 1 currently. That's how well Sam Darnold's been playing for the Minnesota Vikings. And again, it's funny how both these guys were on the Panthers, and now look at them now. One is balling in Tampa, the other one's doing really well in Minnesota. But the Vikings have been probably the best team in football this season. Now, if they didn't have that collapse in the second half, I think I'd be talking about them in even greater detail about how great they are. They did, again, kind of fall apart in that second half against Green Bay last week. But again, the Vikings have been dominant all season long. They still won that football game against Green Bay. Even when they did give up their lead, they came back, or they stayed in the fight. They were still winning, obviously, but they came back, got a score, and won the football game. And they played incredible defense as well. They picked up Jordan Love multiple times in that game at Lambeau Field. And again, the Vikings just look really good right now. And the Jets, on the other hand, obviously, a good victory for them on Thursday Night Football against the New England Patriots 2 weeks ago. But last week, man, I mean, what was that against the Broncos? And I get it. The Broncos play good defense. They do, right? Something that I didn't really expect from Denver going into the season. I thought the Broncos were probably one of the worst teams in football going into this year, just because I don't believe in Bo Nix personally. I think Zach Wilson, I'll say this every week, I think Zach Wilson is a much better quarterback than Bo Nix, and I still do think he is, because again, Bo Nix is not the reason that he was part of the reason why they beat the Buccaneers. He was definitely not the reason they beat the New York Jets. But I just don't think, again, I don't think the Jets are playing that great of football right now, right? I mean, it was apparent in that game against Denver, and I get it. It was raining, but I've said this from the start of the season. I don't think Aaron Rodgers solves all of this team's problems. It's the play calling. It's the way they run their offense. Again, Zach Wilson got scapegoated in this offense. He did. And don't get me wrong. Is Aaron Rodgers better than Zach Wilson? I say this every week. Of course he is. But I don't think Zach Wilson was entirely the reason they weren't winning football games. I don't think they beat Minnesota. The Vikings are able to outscore them. Of course, the receiving corps is going crazy with Justin Jefferson and with Jordan Addison. And Sam Darnold's playing excellent football and the best football you can be playing right now. I get it. The Jets defense is really good, but the Vikings offense is really good too. So we're going to find out how good these two teams are. Usually I sleep through the London games. I'm not going to lie. I'm probably not going to get up at 6:30 to watch this. But I'll get up, somewhat early to watch this football game. I'll watch the second half. Give me the Vikings, though, to win the football game and give me them to cover the 2.5 as well. Again, UFC's on the night before. You got college football on the night before. That's why, again, it's just tough to get up for these 6:30 in the morning games. Anyways, let's go on to our next one here. On to the Sunday slate. We start with the Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals, of course, a divisional matchup in the AFC North. I'm going with the Ravens. I didn't think they were going to do what they did to the Bills, and that was very impressive. Derrick Henry looks like he is just back, and he looks like prime Derrick Henry. I mean, again, that first play touchdown he ripped off for, 87 yards, 83 yards to start the game on Sunday Night Football was insane. Derrick Henry still has it, obviously. And the Bengals, even in their win last week over the Carolina Panthers, didn't really impress me. I thought, again, sure, the Bengals won the football game, and I picked the Panthers to win that game. They didn't, obviously, but I'm not down on the Panthers yet at all. We're gonna get to Carolina later in the video. You might know what I'm picking in that game, but we'll see. The Ravens really impressed me last week. Again, Lamar Jackson has played good football this season. Sure, their whole, what has killed them in this entire season is that they haven't been able to play good second half football. Well, they did that against the Buffalo Bills. They did fall apart a little bit, and if it wasn't for that stupid Sean McDermott play call, where we're lining up Josh Allen at receiver, and we're gonna pitch it back to Josh Allen and try to get him killed as he's gonna try to launch 160 yards downfield at the 40 yards, or actually it's like 50 yards downfield because you're at midfield when the drive was working on a 2nd and 2 before he fumbles. I mean, it was ridiculous. It's the play that changed the momentum of that football game when the Bills tried to do that stupid trick play when they were only down by 2 scores. Anyways, the Ravens are the better football team. They have the better defense. Again, they were really able to limit anything that the Buffalo Bills were trying to get done on offense. And the Ravens offense was really good last week. Lamar Jackson, of course, I cannot speak about how great Lamar Jackson is. There is an elite 3 in the NFL in terms of the quarterback position. It's Patrick Mahomes, it's Lamar Jackson, and it's Josh Allen. Those are the top 3 guys. Now, rank them how you want. Still, personally, I put Josh Allen at number 1. You might think I'm crazy, but I'm putting Jared Goff as the number 4 quarterback in the NFL right now. That's personally where I have Jared Goff. I'm just saying. I think he's that good. Again, the Lions are on bye week this week, but shout out to them going and winning on Monday Night Football. Jared Goff going 18 for 18 throwing the football with a receiving touchdown as well. The guy's legit. You gotta give some credit to Jared Goff in the NFL and where he is in terms of, the entire league at quarterback. He is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, Jared Goff, and I think he's number 4. Anyways, I think the Ravens are the better football team, obviously. I like what they got going in the running game, obviously, with Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson. And I really do like what Justice Hill is able to bring in terms of the receiving core, as the receiving game as well, at least out the backfield. The Ravens are the better football team. The Bengals offense, sure, they look good against the Panthers. I don't think they're going to look good against the Ravens. I understand the game's in Cincinnati. It's a divisional matchup, but I just think the Ravens are the better football team. I think they go on the road and beat the Bengals. I just don't trust the Bengals that much at this point in the season. I get it. They beat the Panthers, but at the same time, it's the Panthers. I might hype up the Panthers because of Andy Dalton, but at the end of the day, again, they are still the Carolina Panthers. Give me the Ravens to win the football game and give me them to cover the 2.5 as well. We go on to our next one here. Here are the Panthers. They are road dogs against the Chicago Bears, and we are taking the road dogs and the Cats in the Carolina Panthers. They're plus 170, getting 3.5. I like the spread. I don't think the Bears beat them by more than a field goal if they do, but I like the Panthers to straight up win the football game as well. The Bears still have not impressed me this season. Sure, they beat the Rams, but the Rams, again, somehow they beat the 49ers. Again, we are cursed on the Rams. Seriously, I've gotten every Rams game wrong since the wild card round last year against the Lions. But again, we will get to the Rams when we get there. They beat up on it. They beat a Rams team that, sometimes they can beat the 49ers, but at other times they lose by 40 points to the Cardinals and then lose to the Bears, who haven't looked spectacular at all this season. I think the Panthers are able to win a shootout in this one. I don't think either team plays exceptional defense. So I think the Panthers can score. Can the Bears keep up? That's my thing. I don't know if they can. Caleb Williams, again, stalls out in drives. He'll throw interceptions in the red zone. Caleb Williams will make stupid decisions sometimes with the football. He has not been the best rookie quarterback this season, obviously, Jaden Daniels. But that's kind of where I'm at for this game. I think the Panthers have a really good chance to win this football game. I think they do. I understand they're going on the road, but I like what Andy Dalton's been able to bring to this team. Even that loss to the Bengals, I don't think it was a bad loss for Carolina. They were able to really move the ball downfield. Chuba Hubbard had a decent game. Miles Sanders actually had a decent game as well. I think this team is struggling a little bit without having Adam Thielen, which is crazy. We're talking about how it's a big loss for a team not having Adam Thielen in 2024. But still, Deontay Johnson played a good game. Xavier Legette played a good game as well, caught his first touchdown pass. Andy Dalton is, again, I think he is the guy for Carolina for the rest of the season. And I think, again, we are, I think guys like him, and we're going to talk about the Colts and Joe Flacco in a second, but I think these guys, I think teams move on from guys like Dalton and Flacco too quickly when these guys, they are great quarterbacks. They make the reads they need to make. And they are traditional quarterbacks. They're pocket passers, but there's still, again, guys like Andy Dalton and Joe Flacco are still successful in the NFL in 2024. I think, again, this new age of quarterback, I don't think these guys are bad, but I don't mind seeing guys like Dalton and Flacco still succeed because that's still what, I think teams are moving on from the traditional quarterback like this too early. Look at Baker Mayfield. Look at Sam Darnold. Look at, again, Flacco, Dalton. These guys can still play in the NFL, and you don't need to go to rookie guys right away. Even how Jacoby Brissett's not playing. Oh, Jacoby Brissett's not playing great. But again, Brissett is the starter for the Patriots as well. He's really not doing as well as these other guys, but still, right? The traditional quarterbacks still can get it done in the NFL. I think the Panthers do go on the road and beat the Chicago Bears. I don't like the Bears at all this season. Caleb Williams, again, has not impressed me at all. It's just the offense hasn't been great. Their defense is just okay. I like the Panthers to win this game. I just think, again, I don't think the Bears are able to keep up with the offensive production of the Carolina Panthers, which I can't believe I'm saying that. But Andy Dalton's not afraid to sling it. Again, Dalton's going to sling the football a lot in this game. And I think the Panthers get it done. Give me Carolina to go on the road and beat the Chicago Bears. Next up, we go to New England. It's the Dolphins and the Patriots. Will this be Drake May's first start? No, I think it's Jacoby Brissett still. I like the Dolphins to go on the road and beat the Patriots. Both these teams are bottom of the barrel in the NFL right now. These two teams are absolutely horrible. Again, you saw with one of the worst Monday Night Football games I've ever witnessed, the Dolphins and the Tennessee Titans. The Titans end up winning the football game. The Tennessee's on bye week this week. We'll talk about them next week with their quarterback situation with Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. But the Dolphins looked horrible in that game, and I don't know why they're not allowing Tyler Huntley to really open up the offense. I believe it was Dan Orlovsky, in the fourth quarter when they hit Tyreek Hill on a crossing route when they were down by 16 points, and Huntley hit him up the middle, and Tyreek had a gain of 25. It's just, why aren't they going to this more? It's, the Dolphins, I get with Skylar Thompson. I get with Tim Boyle. Tyler Huntley, Tyreek Hill says himself, Tyler Huntley's a former Pro Bowl quarterback. And I get the Pro Bowl doesn't mean anything anymore, but Tyler Huntley is still capable of running an offense. And I don't know why they're not allowing Huntley to really open things up. I'm a little bit concerned with what they're doing at the running back position. Jalen Wright's getting a lot of carries, and he's taken away a lot from Devon Achane, which I get, again, because Achane has had some huge games this season in terms of workload. But it's a little confusing. I get Mostert's coming back next week, and they're probably going to go back to their normal 1-2 with Mostert and Achane. But again, there was a lot of Jalen Wright last week. I don't know. The Dolphins concern me, but the Patriots at the same time are just not good at all. The Patriots are horrible. The Patriots have turned into what we thought they were going to be at the beginning of the season, right? They started the season with their miracle win at home. And again, it is starting to go downhill for them, right? Again, they beat the Bengals on the road, right? And then everything has started to unravel for the Patriots since, which is expected. Again, Jacoby Brissett, I don't know if he can win at the NFL level right now. Again, I don't think he's having the success guys like Flacco, Dalton, and Darnold and Baker are this season. Obviously, the latter two are having way more success than the others. I don't really know how well Jacoby Brissett can win in the NFL right now. And again, Drake May's going to get the start eventually. But again, you looked at that Patriots schedule, and there's a reason why Drake May's not starting right now. It's because, again, the guys, the teams that they're playing to start the season, they're tough teams, right? Look what the Patriots have had to play so far. Again, they beat the Bengals, the Niners, and they played Seattle. They've played some good teams so far this season. I think the Dolphins go on the road and win. I think they're going to get Mostert back. Again, Tua's probably still like 3 weeks away. They have to open up the offense more with Tyler Huntley. I get why they were hesitant in doing so because, again, Huntley just got there. But now with another full week of practice for Tyler Huntley, I do think this offense is able to evolve a little bit. And I think Huntley should be able to run it the way this offense is meant to be run. Again, not to the level Tua does it, but I do think Huntley's able to at least manage it better. Give me the Dolphins to go on the road to New England and win the football game. Next up, we go to Houston. Probably the game of the week in terms of the non-primetime games. The Buffalo Bills go to the Houston Texans to play, of course, the Texans. Go to Houston to play the Texans. Houston with that, big come from behind victory last week over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Dare with the big, the former Jaguar running back, with the big touchdown catch at the end of the game for the Texans to go out there and win the game. The Texans now get the Bills. I think the Bills go to Houston and win. It's a bounce back opportunity for Buffalo, obviously. Last week, losing to Baltimore on Sunday Night Football. It's going to happen to you, right? It's going to happen. But now, again, this is a bounce back game for them. Houston hasn't impressed me this season. I get it. They came back from behind. They beat Jacksonville. Excuse me. A good win. Great, right? But other than that, Houston hasn't been exceptionally great this year. Buffalo's been good. Again, that's a tough game for the Bills on primetime Sunday Night Football, going on the road to take on Lamar Jackson, who was, again, one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, the reigning MVP. It's a tough game. It's a tough game on the road on primetime. Now you get Houston, a team that I just don't think the Texans are as good as the Bills. Simply put, I don't think they are. The better quarterbacks, obviously, in Buffalo, but again, that's obvious. Josh Allen's the better quarterback in every single game he plays, with the exception, I think, of Lamar Jackson at this point in time. I understand Patrick Mahomes. This season, Patrick Mahomes has not been on the level of Josh Allen. That's all I'm saying. Josh Allen, of course, I think he's the best player in the NFL right now. I think the Bills they get back in this game. I think they do. I think Houston's defense will struggle with the Bills. Again, the Jacksonville saw a lot of success working the ball up and down the field. Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk had a big day as well. Imagine what the Bills are going to be able to do. And again, Josh Allen has been able to, split up all his targets throughout all of his weapons. I don't think they're going to do it, but I wouldn't mind seeing the Bills try to go out and get Devontae Adams. I don't know how much that helps them, considering, again, their kind of style of offense right now is just give the ball to everybody. Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir, right, etc. Keon Coleman. I don't know how much, Devontae Adams would help this team, but obviously Devontae Adams is on the trade market. We will get to that when we get to the Raiders. I wouldn't mind seeing the Bills try to target a guy like Devontae. I think it would help their team a lot. Obviously, again, they've always had the star receiver in Stephon Diggs, but now you're adding a guy in Devontae Adams to a system that you've already built, and not a system that that was kind of built around Stephon Diggs. I think it changes things a little bit. And speaking of Stephon Diggs, again, he's on the Texans this game. He's going to want to have a big game, but I am concerned a little bit with the Texans offense at points. They don't look great at times. CJ Stroud, again, has not replicated what he did in his rookie season so far. Not to say Stroud's been bad. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination. CJ Stroud has not been a bad quarterback this season. But give me the Bills to go on the road and beat the Texans. I just think they're better. I think the offense is better. I think the offense is able to score more points. So give me Buffalo. I don't think the Texans defense is able to keep up. So give me Buffalo on the road. We go into our next one here. Here are the Indianapolis Colts going on the road to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm very surprised Indianapolis is underdogs here. I get it, the game's in Jacksonville, but I'm siding with the Colts. And I'd be even more confident with the Colts because of Joe Flacco. I just am. I like Anthony Richardson a lot. He's one of my fantasy quarterbacks. I have two main leagues I play. I have Jalen Hurts and Baker Mayfield in one. Yes, I picked Baker in the 13th round. I got really lucky in a 16-man. And then I got Anthony Richardson and Andy Dalton in the other league. But, and I have Joe Flacco now too. But still, I like Anthony Richardson a lot. I want the best for Anthony Richardson. I think right now Joe Flacco's more equipped to win football games for the Indianapolis Colts than Anthony Richardson. I'm just going to straight out say it. I think Joe Flacco's the better guy. And I get it. Flacco, had a really good game as a result of some turnovers by Pittsburgh. It gave, again, Flacco and the Colts the ball in plus field positioning, where it was really easy for Flacco just to take advantage, dink and dime his way to the end zone, sure. But Joe Flacco makes all the right plays for this Indianapolis Colts team. You're not telling me Joe Flacco's not a top 32 quarterback in the NFL right now. He is. Joe Flacco should be a starter somewhere in the NFL. And it's a shame, again, that he's behind Anthony Richardson. Not because I think he's so much better than Richardson. It's just because, again, I think there's so many better spots for Joe Flacco to be where he could be a starter, where there's not a guy like Anthony Richardson in front of him. I don't think Anthony Richardson is bad. I just think Joe Flacco is slightly better to win with this Colts team right now. Look at Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman kind of disappeared throughout the beginning of the season. He was not in the rock. You see, he had 130 yards, I believe, give or take, last week in their win over Pittsburgh. Why? And again, Richardson did hit him for 40 yards before AR got hurt. But Joe Flacco is going to get the ball to Michael Pittman Jr. What Joe Flacco did with Amari Cooper last season in Cleveland, that's what he will do with a guy like Michael Pittman in Indianapolis. I think it's so important, again, Joe Flacco. Again, they're going to go with AR if he's healthy. But I think Flacco's better, and I think Flacco's better for this football team. I'd feel great if Joe Flacco started this football game in Jacksonville. No doubt in my mind does Joe Flacco go to Jacksonville and beat the Jaguars, a team that's still 0-4. Trevor Lawrence has not looked great this season, obviously. I think he had a better game against Houston than he did on Monday Night Football against the Bills, but he hasn't been great. They've struggled to get the ball to ETN, who's dealt with some injuries. Christian Kirk's been good. Evan Ingram's been dealing with an injury, though. Again, the Jaguars have been very iffy this season. The defense has left a lot to be desired. I like the Colts a lot more if they have Joe Flacco this game. Anthony Richardson does make stupid mistakes. He does throw interceptions. Sure, he's gonna wow you with his flashy plays. Don't get me wrong. I think Anthony Richardson has a bright future in the NFL. I worry sometimes, though, with him making the right reads and him just doing enough to win the football game. That's the difference. Joe Flacco is going to do you just enough to win the football game. Anthony Richardson will take over the game, and he will win you football games that way. But Joe Flacco, again, is just going to do what you need him to do, and he's going to distribute the rock, and he's going to, again, throw for a lot of yards. I think the Flacco-led Colts are a lot better than the Richardson-led Colts, at least right now. I think it benefits their style more. I get it, again, running the read option and whatnot with Richardson and Taylor. That's great. But Joe Flacco, you can run the ball at Joe Flacco, not Flacco running, obviously. You can have him hand it off Jonathan Taylor, and it just makes your weapons more available to you. Other than Alec Pierce being the only guy that Richardson hits for the most part, now you open up the offense to Adonai Mitchell. You open up to Michael Pittman Jr., who's a top 20 receiver in the NFL who just wasn't getting the ball with Anthony Richardson, and Alec Pierce as well. And Josh Downs is coming back from injury very shortly. I really want to see Flacco start for this football team. They're not going to do it unless AR is hurt. This week, though, I would not be surprised if Flacco gets the start. Why push Richardson back for a game against the 0-4 Jaguars? Give me the Colts as road dogs. I really like this game for the Colts to go out there and win. Next up, we go to Washington. We go to Landover, Maryland for the Cleveland Browns and the Washington Commanders. I said it in the last episode, and again, I'm going to say it again. I don't think Deshaun Watson's a bad quarterback at all. I think Deshaun Watson's playing really good football right now. Watch Deshaun's game against the Raiders. Like, I'm not saying he's all the way back, and the Deshaun that we had, back when he was with Houston, where he was the clear number 2 quarterback in football, that Deshaun Watson's gone and he's probably never coming back. And that's a result of the injuries. That's because of a whole year off. That Deshaun Watson, I don't think ever comes back. But what I do think is Deshaun Watson is still very capable of being a Pro Bowl quarterback in the NFL, of potentially being a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Look at the way he played last week against the Raiders. Deshaun Watson was the reason the Browns were in that football game. They couldn't run the rock. They couldn't. And Amari Cooper dropped 4 catches. He dropped 4 balls in that game that could have been huge first downs to extend drives for Cleveland. And on top of that, Deshaun Watson had a 85-yard touchdown called back to Amari Cooper as well. And how did Deshaun make that play? He kept the play alive with his feet, extended the play. And again, I was seeing glimpses of the Deshaun Watson from Houston. Love the guy, hate the guy. Deshaun Watson, again, I don't think is a bad football player in 2024 in the NFL. I just don't think he is. However, the Browns are outgunned in this matchup. Guys, the Washington Commanders might have the best offense in football right now. Maybe I'm pumping the brakes. Maybe I need to pump the brakes a little bit with that. But the Commanders are playing tremendous offense right now. And imagine if this team gets Devontae Adams. Terry McLaurin's been good, but Terry McLaurin has never had a true, real number 1 next to him. And that's what Devontae Adams would bring this football team. I'm just saying, I'd like to see it. I would really like to see Devontae Adams join the Washington Commanders. Because Jaden Daniels has been playing like a top 10 quarterback in the NFL this season. He's obviously on pace to win the Rookie of the Year. That's how good this guy's been. Jaden Daniels has been excellent. He's been everything the Commanders have asked for this season and more. I mean, their domination last week of the Arizona Cardinals in Glendale. They go cross-country to go out there and beat the Cardinals. That was a huge win for the Washington Commanders. And now they come back at home. I get the Browns play good defense, but I just think Washington's going to be able to score against them. I like Deshaun Watson a lot. I really do. I'm really liking the quarterback play out of Deshaun Watson recently. 100%. It's just not going to be enough in this game. Washington still is the better quarterback. Washington still is the better team. Sure, the Browns might have a slightly better defense, but the Commanders are playing really good defense in their own right. Hell, stopping Kyler Murray and the Cardinals offense, team that can score and score quick, to 14 points is a big deal. It's a huge deal. Give me the Washington Commanders to win the football game, and they will cover the 3 points as well. Give me the Commanders. Let's go on to our next one here. On to the afternoon slate. We start things off in Santa Clara, California. We have got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Arizona Cardinals. We're taking the 49ers to win the football game, but we're taking the Cardinals to cover the 7.5. I don't think the Cardinals get blown out in back-to-back weeks. I just don't think they do. And San Francisco still hasn't, they looked all right in that game against the Patriots, but they still haven't gotten out to, they haven't been the 49ers yet. I don't know if that makes sense, but they haven't been the team that we've expected the 49ers to be. Hell, they're 2-2. They're 2-2. And I get one of the losses to the Vikings, but the other loss, the Rams, still keeps on aging horribly, and we will get to the Rams again. I've cursed the Los Angeles Rams in every game they've been in, but we'll get to the Rams when we get there. The 49ers haven't impressed me that much this season. Who has impressed me, though? Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy has really stepped up this season. You want to talk about the top 5 quarterbacks in the game? Again, I'm just saying this for the point of the video right now, but I mean, there's a case that you can make this as, in order, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, this season. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff, Brock Purdy. All the hits on Brock Purdy was he can't win without his weapons. He's checking the ball down every single play. Well, you know what is the most air yards in the NFL this season? Brock Purdy. Most air yards in the NFL since the year of 2000, I believe the stat is. Brock Purdy, in terms of per season or per attempt. Brock Purdy. He's not a check down merchant like people are calling him. Brock Purdy is legit. Brock Purdy is playing like 2014 Russell Wilson. Though his ability to scramble off the pocket, his ability to create plays for himself. Brock Purdy, again, it was always Purdy's a system guy. No, Brock Purdy makes the 49ers at this point now. I truly believe so. Purdy's making plays and Purdy's winning games for this football team. I think the Niners win the football game. I'm a little bit concerned with them covering. I wouldn't play it either way, honestly, because this game could go either way. I don't know what Cardinals team we're going to get. Again, Kyler Murray's looked really good until last week. James Conner's looked good until last week. Marvin Harrison, again, until last week. Is that just the Commanders are really good? Is it because the Cardinals are very, off and on? Or is it the Cardinals aren't that good? I think the Cardinals are good because of the way they played Detroit. But we'll see. Again, the Cardinals have played 3 straight home games. They're away from home now. They're going to San Francisco or Santa Clara for the first time on the road since that Buffalo game in week 1. I think the Cardinals stay in the game, but I think the 49ers win it. Again, Brock Purdy is going to make plays for this team to win the football game. They are still dealing with a lot of injuries, but I think the 49ers go out there and win the football game at home. Give me San Francisco to win, but give me Arizona to cover. To our next game here, we're going to Mile High. The Broncos taking on the Raiders. Now, again, Davante Adams, I don't think will play this week. He's dealing with an injury, and again, it's costing my fantasy team, but shout out Trey Tucker for being my backup, and, hey, I'm fine with Davante getting traded as a fantasy guy. Hey, I get Davante Adams on another team, and I get Trey Tucker to be the real number 2 in Vegas. That's all I'm saying. I'm fine with it. Anyways, the Raiders, again, where will Davante Adams be? I don't know. I don't think he's playing this week. I think he's played his last snap as a member of the Las Vegas Raiders. They're going to trade him. And he's injured right now. I don't know how injured he is, but they're not going to push Davante back. Hell, again, you watched the whole, the receiver thing, the Netflix show last year where Davante said, I got to get out of here. I've never taken hits like I've, whatever, right? Again, that clip was slightly taken out of context, but still, I think it's been a while in the making that Davante is going to leave the Raiders. Again, it's his fault because he was the one who wanted to go to the Raiders, but it is what it is. He's either going to be a Jet, or a Commander, I think. Those are the 2 teams. I heard the Bucs are on him, which I don't know why Tampa would be in on Davante Adams. Again, the more weapons, the merrier, but why? I get it. They've done it before with 3 all-pro receivers, Godwin, Evans, and Antonio Brown, but do you really need Davante Adams too? I feel like AB really helped because AB was a different player than Godwin. Godwin's a possession guy. Evans your one-on-one guy, but AB's your playmaker. I don't really know how Davante really separates himself from Mike Evans. Sure, is he better than Mike Evans? I don't know. They're kind of this. I don't know. I think they're kind of the same guy. Like, I think skill-wise, they're kind of the same right now. I don't see Davante going to the Bucs. I personally see him going to either the Commanders or the Jets. I, as a fan, would love to see the Commanders. I think that'd be so exciting. I'm all aboard the Commanders hype train right now, by the way. Commanders doing the NFC East. I'm just saying. In this game, though, the Broncos' dark magic has to end this week. Okay? Bo Nix's dark magic and whatever Sean Payton is cooking up on the sidelines, his voodoo that he got from New Orleans, has to end this week. The Raiders are going to Denver and winning this football game because that makes sense, right? Denver beats the Jets and the Bucs in back-to-back weeks, but they return home and lose to the Raiders. That's what's going to happen. Guys, the Raiders aren't that bad. They're going to get their guys back on defense this week. They dealt with some injuries last week. They had no Max Crosby, no Davante Adams. I doubt Adams plays, but I think Crosby will. Gardner Minshew has not been bad this season. It's looking like they're trending towards Alexander Madison being the lead back, which I'm not against. I think he's better than Zamir White. Again, I like the Raiders to win this football game. I think they go on the road and win. The Raiders defense should be able to shut down whatever the hell the Broncos are doing. And I get it, the Broncos play really good defense too. This is going to be a very low scoring game. I just think the plays are going to be made by the Raiders to win this game. I think they've got the speed, obviously. I think, again, you're going to have Jacoby Myers probably locked up with Patrick Surtain the entire game. It should, again, open up a guy like Trey Tucker to have a huge game for the Raiders this week. Expect that to happen. I like the speed of Trey Tucker to get downfield. Again, they find ways to get Trey Tucker the football. Giving him the end around when he ran that touchdown in, of course, against the Browns last week. I don't like what the Broncos do on offense. Again, that's not the reason they win football games. It's because of their defense. I think eventually, again, the luck and the dark magic is going to run out, and the voodoo ends this week. That's why the Raiders are going to win this football game. They're going to Mile High, and they're beating the Broncos. Again, this run has to end, and it's ending this week. The Broncos are not starting the season 3-2. I don't care. They're not. They're not that good. Give me the Raiders. The Raiders go on the road and win. As long as they stay out their own way, they win this game. All right, the Rams. So again, I have not gotten a Rams game right. I break this down every video for you guys, but I got them wrong against the Lions in the wild card round. I picked them to lose against the Lions in week 1, but I picked them to cover. Did not happen. Week 2, I picked them to beat the Cardinals. Obviously, that did not happen. Week 3, I picked them to lose the 49ers. That did not happen. And last week, I picked them to beat the Bears, and that did not happen. Okay? 5 straight weeks, I've gotten the last 5 games the Los Angeles Rams have played, I've gotten wrong. Okay? Now we get them and the Packers. If they somehow beat the Green Bay Packers at home, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say if they beat the Packers. They are nowhere near Green Bay. And again, I said it last week with the Packers. I think Jordan Love coming back a little bit early, at least when they don't really need him right now. Again, rushing him back for week 4, I didn't really think made sense. Malik Willis was playing really well for this Packers team. I didn't like that Love was started last week. And I get it. They said he was close to playing in week 3, but there's no reason to push your franchise guy back that quickly, especially in, again, a game that you're playing the Vikings. I get it's a divisional matchup, but still, there's still no point. I think Malik Willis, again, he was undefeated as a starter technically this season. Again, Malik Willis is 2-0. Jordan Love's 0-2, technically. Again, Jordan Love's a better football player, but still, I wouldn't mind seeing Malik Willis, again, getting another start. Jordan Love's questionable this week. He will play. I have no doubt in my mind that Jordan Love's not going to play this football game. But still, I worried a little bit with them bringing back Love too quickly. It's fine this week. They're beating the Rams. The Rams are awful. Again, I fell victim to being, oh, look at the Rams. They beat the 49ers. I got that wrong. Let me pick them to beat the Bears. Well, that was partially more because I don't think the Bears are very good. But at the same time, the Rams aren't very good. The Packers are 10 times the team. They are 10 times the team that the Rams are. They just are. The Rams still don't have a receiving core. Cup's still a couple weeks away. Puka's still a couple weeks away. Their O-line's still dismantled. Their defense just okay. And the Packers are just a better football team. They have more weapons, obviously. They have one of the best all-around receiving cores in the NFL. And Jordan Love, again, as he gets back into the swing of things, after he comes back from the injury, which he is back now, but again, after a full week, now he's back, his second start, I only feel better about the Packers. And again, I would not mind seeing Malik Willis get another week in this offense. By the way, Josh Jacobs absolutely balling out the running back position for the Packers this season as well. I like the Packers to win this football game. They're minus 170 favorites. Give me them to cover the 3 points as well. Go Pack, go. Give me the Packers to beat the Rams. And again, I have cursed the Rams. So again, I wouldn't follow my advice on this one personally because I've gotten 5 Rams games wrong in a row. Maybe they beat the Packers now, and maybe I just can't get a Rams win for the rest of the season. Maybe I should just always pick the Rams every single week so I can watch them lose because they just piss me off every week. Because again, I was riding them every single week, and then the one week I say no, I'm picking the 49ers. They beat the Niners. And then, I'm going to pick them to beat the Bears. Lose the Bears. Give me the Packers to win and give me them to cover as well. Okay, going on to our next one here. We've got the Giants and the Seahawks. The Seahawks are the better football team. It's plain and simple. The Seahawks are the better team. Now, they lost the Lions, but guys, the Lions are the best team in the NFL right now. So I don't care they lost to Detroit. I really could not care less they lost that football game. Geno Smith played a good game. Kenneth Walker is one of the better running backs in the NFL. I really like the receiving core too. Again, JSN, DK, Tyler Lockett. This team plays good football. The Seahawks play really good football. And they were outmatched, but they lost the Lions. And this is a team that, again, Seattle kept up in that game with Detroit. They really did. Again, the Lions were able to run the ball down their throats, but that was a result of the entire front line for the Seahawks not being active and being hurt for that game against Detroit. Which it is what it is. They dealt with injuries, but now they bounce back and they get the Giants. No Malik Neighbors this week. The Giants are screwed. If Neighbors doesn't play, which I don't think he is, right? They're screwed. I get it. He has a extended. They're coming off of a long week. Obviously, they have the Thursday night game, and now they get the long bye technically, or is that what we're calling it? It's something like that, right? They get the they have the Thursday night game, and now they get a full weekend and another week to prepare for the Seahawks. I don't think Neighbors is playing. Actually, I can check it right now. But if Neighbors doesn't play, the Giants are screwed, and that's why again the Seahawks are covering. I don't think Neighbors is playing. He has a concussion, right? Okay, so as of today, obviously if you're watching this video on the day it came out, this is Wednesday, Brian Daboll said Malik Neighbors will not practice today, and he's still in the early stages of concussion protocol. He's not playing. Devin Singletary did not practice this week either. The Giants are screwed. They don't have their top guys. Who is Daniel Jones going to force feed this week? I don't know. Who's next for Daniel Jones to force feed? I don't think Danny Dimes is playing bad football at all. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he is. But without Malik Neighbors, they're screwed. He's their entire offense. And Devin Singletary makes up a big portion of that offense too. What do they do without those guys? I don't know. I don't know what they do without those guys. The Seahawks should win. And again, if Neighbors doesn't play, this is going to be an absolute blowout. Again, Neighbors does buy you all that points for the Seahawks. He does. Neighbors is a big difference in this football game because their offense collapses without their rookie standout receiver, Malik Neighbors. That's just what happens with the Giants this season, at least it feels like to me, right? Give me the Seahawks to win. They are minus 260 favorites. I think they cover the spread as well at 6.5. Yeah, give me the Seahawks to win the football game and give me them, of course, to cover the spread as well. We go on to our next one here, Sunday Night Football. I mean, it's a rivalry as old as time, right? The Dallas Cowboys versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are the better team. They just are. The Steelers should win this football game, and I really don't have too many doubts in my mind that they're going to win this football game. Their defense should be able to shut down Dallas. Dallas on prime time, under the big stage. You know, they're playing the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. I don't think this Cowboys team shows up, I'll be honest with you. They're not in a dome, obviously, which, again, they beat the Giants on the road last week. They didn't look that great in being the Giants, though. They kept the Giants around in that football game on Thursday night, and I get it. Okay, yeah, the Steelers lost to the Colts. Well, that's a tough game. Again, going to Indianapolis, Justin Fields did not play a horrible game at all. Probably played his best game of the season, even though he did turn the football over. 300 passing yards, a lot of rushing yards as well. I remember he had like 32 fantasy points last week. Justin Fields played really good football last week. And the Steelers are only going to get better with Justin Fields. Guys, Justin Fields is their guy. Russ is done. Russ is done as at least a starter this season. I don't know if Russ gets a shot next year. I don't know. Maybe they look to trade Russ at the deadline this year, even though, of course, the NFL trade deadline is not that big of a deal. But still, Justin Fields, until proven otherwise, is the starter in Pittsburgh. Again, he's 3-1, but even in a loss last week, he played his best game. He's better than Kenny Pickett, obviously, is, right? I like the Steelers a lot to win this football game. What Dallas has got going on, they're plus 115 dogs. Again, they beat the Giants last week. The Cowboys still don't impress me, especially they have to go on the road to play a really good defense and an offense that, sure, leaves some to be desired at points, but an offense that is getting better, and they are scoring now. I really like the Steelers to win this game. I don't think the Cowboys, offense will be able to effectively move the ball downfield. Dak's not a bad quarterback at all. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Prescott's horrible. CeeDee Lamb's obviously a top 5 receiver in the game. They're going really a lot with Rico Dowdle at running back now, which I'm not mad with. I didn't think Zeke was gonna get completely phased out the offense like he did, but it's fine. Jake Ferguson, again, is a great tight end for this football team, but I just like what the Steelers got going on. George Pickens has been playing really well this season. Justin Fields, again, has been the guy for Pittsburgh this year, and again, don't get me started on their defense. Their defense can shut down anybody. Again, except for Joe Flacco. But you're telling me Joe Flacco is not a top 32 starting quarterback in the NFL right now? Come on now. Come on. Flacco's been haunting the Steelers since the beginning of time as well. But give me Pittsburgh to win on Sunday Night Football. They're the better team than the Cowboys. The offense is close. The Cowboys probably the better offense, but the Steelers offense can make up for it, and the Steelers defense is much better. They should be able to stop whatever the Cowboys have got going on. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers to win at home. Again, it is on prime time as well. In prime time on Sunday Night Football, under the big lights, give me the Pittsburgh Steelers to beat the Dallas Cowboys, and obviously they will cover the 1.5 as well. We go on to our final game of the week, Monday Night Football. We've got the New Orleans Saints taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are in some problems. They have some problems. And now, we talked about where Davante Adams could go. We're talking about Tampa, possibly. But really, New York, Washington, those are the 2 spots for potentially Davante Adams. The spot we're not talking about, right there, the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think the Raiders deal with them in the division, but is a possibility. I'm just saying. What team lost their top 2 receivers this season? Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown. What team lost their top 2 guys? It's the Kansas City Chiefs. They need a number 1. Boom, Davante Adams. Again, maybe the Raiders would feel somewhat inclined on trading him to Kansas City because Kansas City's going to overpay. They're going to give up more. They know they're in the Raiders division, but they don't care. They're going to give up whatever they can to try to go out and get Davante Adams to salvage their receiving core this year. Rashee's out for the year. Hollywood's out until at least the playoffs. If he comes back this season, it'll be the postseason. It's Xavier Worthy, and that's it. Juju's now number 2 in Kansas City this year. Travis Kelce has to step up. Kelce's just not getting the ball. He's got 80 receiving yards all year. It's bad. This is not the Travis Kelce that we know. I wouldn't say we love. I don't like Travis Kelce, but he's a good football player. I'm not gonna hate him. The guy's a good football player. He hasn't been that this season though. He hasn't been the Travis Kelce we know of being a Hall of Famer. The Saints, on the other hand, again, looked really great to start the season. They've kind of cooled down, obviously. Last week against Atlanta, they made that drive at the end of the game to go score. Alvin Kamara scored the touchdown. They left too much time. Alvin Kamara has put himself, again, back in the category of being an elite running back in the NFL. That's what he is. Kind of saw it at the beginning of the season. I shouldn't have traded him in fantasy, but I did. I traded him for Davante Adams. But anyways, Derek Carr's still not playing horribly. Again, they just lost a tough game and a close game against Atlanta. Again, the offense did everything they needed him to do at the end of the football game. Go down the field, score a touchdown. Left too much time for Koo. Left too much time for Younghoe Koo to knock down a 58-yard field goal to win the football game. I think the Saints keep competitive in this game. They'll cover the 5.5. I don't feel great about the Chiefs beating anybody by 5.5 right now, but what the Chiefs do well, they can't blow teams out right now, but what the Chiefs do well, I'll give them credit. They know how to win football games. And they know how to win tight football games. That's what the Chiefs are going to do this week. They are going to win a tight football game at home against the New Orleans Saints. It's going to be close. The odds, again, I don't think the line should be this big because I think the Saints will be able to score points. And the Saints defense is actually one of the better defenses in football this season. They should be able to turn over Mahomes, who has made stupid mistakes this year, just throwing bad footballs. He's overthrown guys. There's been some decisions where it's like, where's Mahomes going with this ball? The Saints should be able to turn over Mahomes a couple times. That's why I think they stay in this football game. But again, what Kansas City does, whether it be the officiating or whatnot, Kansas City finds ways to win. They find ways to win at the end of the football game. They're not going to cover 5.5. That's too much. They win this game by 2 points, 3 points. Kansas City gets it done on Monday Night Football. And folks, that'll do it for our week number 5 predictions here with the NFL season. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. And make sure to leave a like as well, again, if you did enjoy this video. We'll be back next week for week number 6 of the NFL. We'll have college football next week as well. We'll have more UFC with Brandon Royval and Tetsuro Taira in the main event, the UFC Apex. And we'll also have the MLB, ALDS, and LDS predictions coming at you on the channel later this week as well. So folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. And Mamba